Emotional intelligence is the ability to monitor one's own and other people's emotions, to discriminate between different emotions and label them appropriately, and to use emotional information to guide thinking and behavior. Emotions are a vital part of being human. They color our experiences, affect our decision-making, and influence how we relate to others. However, while emotions are natural and necessary, allowing them to control our actions can lead to problems. We've all been there, saying something we regret in a moment of anger, or being so overwhelmed by stress that we freeze up. Learning how to control your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means mastering the ability to respond in a calm, collected manner, even when life's pressures mount. In this video, I'm going to share 5 proven techniques to help you control your emotions. These are strategies that can be applied in daily life, and the more you practice them, the more resilient and composed you will become, no matter what challenges come your way. Technique first is mindful breathing. Let's start with one of the most simple but powerful techniques, mindful breathing. Our breath is closely linked to our emotional state. When we're angry, anxious, or stressed, our breathing often becomes rapid and shallow. By consciously focusing on your breath, you can quickly shift your mental and emotional state. How mindful breathing works. When you're upset, your body enters a state of fight or flight. This response is automatic, as your brain is wired to react to perceived threats. However, most of the situations that trigger this response today, like getting stuck in traffic or dealing with a difficult colleague, aren't life-threatening. Mindful breathing can signal to your brain that it's time to calm down, helping you regain control. Steps for mindful breathing are: pause the moment you feel an emotional surge. Stop whatever you're doing. Pause even if it's just for a few seconds. Inhale deeply. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose for about 4 seconds. Focus only on your breath. Exhale slowly. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds, as slowly as possible. Repeat. Continue this for several breaths, focusing entirely on the sensation of air flowing in and out of your body. Imagine you're in a heated argument with someone. Instead of reacting impulsively, you take a few moments to breathe deeply. Those seconds give you enough time to clear your head and respond more thoughtfully, rather than snapping back with words you may regret later. Over time, mindful breathing can become your first line of defense when emotions run high. Technique second is cognitive reframing. Our emotions are not just reactions to events, but also to the way we interpret those events. Cognitive reframing is about changing the way you view a situation, which in turn alters how you feel about it. Often it's not the situation that's upsetting, but the story we tell ourselves about the situation. By adjusting your narrative, you can take back control over your emotions. How cognitive reframing works: when something happens, you automatically assign meaning to it based on your beliefs, past experiences, and expectations. For example, if your boss criticizes your work, you might instantly think, "I'm not good enough," which can lead to feelings of inadequacy. Cognitive reframing allows you to step back and question that interpretation. You could reframe the situation by thinking, "This is an opportunity for growth, and I can use this feedback to improve." Practical steps for cognitive reframing are: identify the emotion. First, recognize what you're feeling and what thoughts are driving those emotions. Challenge your thoughts. Ask yourself if your interpretation is the only possible explanation. Are you jumping to conclusions? Are you being overly negative? Reframe the situation. Choose a more balanced or positive interpretation. Instead of, "This is a disaster," you could think, "This is difficult, but I've handled challenges before and can get through this." Let's say you didn't get the promotion you were hoping for. Your initial reaction might be to feel worthless or defeated. However, by reframing, you might think, "This is a chance for me to reassess my skills, learn from this experience, and come back stronger." Changing the narrative can drastically shift your emotional response, allowing you to feel more in control. Technique third is emotional labeling. One of the reasons emotions can feel overwhelming is that we often experience them as an abstract flood of sensations. Emotional labeling is the practice of identifying and naming the emotion you're experiencing. It might sound simple, but just the act of putting a name to your feelings can significantly reduce their intensity. How emotional labeling works. When you label your emotions, you engage the thinking part of your brain, rather than letting your emotional brain take over. This process creates a psychological distance between you and your feelings, allowing you to observe them rather than be consumed by them. Instead of "I am angry," you shift to "I am feeling angry." This small change puts you in the driver's seat, rather than letting the emotion control you. Practical steps for emotional labeling are: pause and reflect. When you feel overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself what specific emotion you are feeling. Is it anger, sadness, frustration, or fear? Name the emotion. Say the emotion out loud or write it down. "I am feeling frustrated because I was interrupted during my presentation." Analyze the cause. Once you've labeled the emotion, ask yourself what triggered it. Understanding the root cause helps you deal with it more effectively. Suppose you're feeling tense before a big meeting. Instead of letting that nervous energy take over, you pause and think, "I am feeling anxious because I want to perform well." By simply naming it, you might find that the intensity of your anxiety diminishes. Emotional labeling gives you the ability to step back and manage your response better. Technique fourth is body awareness. Emotions aren't just mental experiences. They manifest physically in the body. When you're stressed, you might notice a tightness in your chest or shoulders, or when you're angry, your hands might clench. By becoming aware of these physical cues, you can catch emotions early before they escalate out of control. This technique is about tuning into your body and using those signals to guide your emotional response. How body awareness works. Every emotion has a physiological component. When you're aware of what your body is doing in response to emotions, you can recognize the onset of strong feelings and take corrective action. Body awareness is a form of mindfulness that helps you stay grounded in the present moment, preventing emotional flare-ups. Practical steps for body awareness are: 1. Scan your body. Throughout the day, check in with your body. Notice where you're holding tension, whether it's in your jaw, neck, stomach, or shoulders. Release tension. Once you've identified where your body is holding stress, consciously release the tension. You can do this by stretching, massaging the area, or simply taking deep breaths to relax. Use it as a signal. When you feel that tension building, use it as a signal to pause and check in with your emotions. Are you stressed, frustrated, or overwhelmed? Once you've identified the emotion, you can work on addressing it. You're sitting in traffic, late for an important meeting, and you notice your shoulders are tense, your jaw is clenched, and your stomach feels tight. These are signals from your body that you're stressed and frustrated. Instead of letting that emotion build up and possibly snapping at someone later, you can take a few deep breaths and relax those muscles. This act helps you calm down and regain control over your emotional state. Technique 5 is practice self-compassion. Finally, one of the most effective techniques for emotional control is practicing self-compassion. Often we're our own harshest critics. which can exacerbate feelings of anger, sadness, or anxiety. When you fail, make a mistake, or feel upset, it's crucial to treat yourself with kindness rather than self-judgment. Self-compassion doesn't mean making excuses. It means recognizing that you're human, and that it's okay to feel a range of emotions without berating yourself. How self-compassion works. Self-compassion is about offering yourself the same kindness and understanding you would give to a friend. Instead of beating yourself up for feeling a certain way or making a mistake, you remind yourself that imperfection is part of the human experience. This shift in perspective helps you move through difficult emotions without getting stuck in negative self-talk. Practical steps for practice self-compassion. Acknowledge the emotion. When you're feeling down, anxious, or upset, acknowledge the emotion without judgment. I'm feeling really anxious right now, and that's okay. Treat yourself kindly. Speak to yourself as you would to a close friend. Instead of saying, "I'm such an idiot for getting upset," try, "It's understandable that I'm feeling upset. Anyone would in this situation." Offer reassurance. Remind yourself that no one is perfect and that it's normal to experience setbacks and emotional challenges. Self-compassion is about being your own ally in moments of distress. Let's say you're feeling overwhelmed because you didn't perform as well as you hoped during a presentation. Instead of spiraling into self-criticism, you take a moment to acknowledge your feelings. I'm disappointed in myself, and that's okay. This is a learning experience, and I can improve next time. This compassionate approach not only helps soothe your emotions but also motivates you to keep growing without the weight of unnecessary guilt. Controlling your emotions isn't about shutting them down or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding and managing them so they don't control you. These 5 techniques: mindful breathing, cognitive reframing, emotional labeling, body awareness, and self-compassion, offer practical, real-life strategies to help you navigate even the most challenging situations with composure and clarity. The more you practice, the better you'll become at managing your emotions in a healthy way. By taking control of your emotional responses, you'll improve not only your well-being, but also your relationships, decision-making, and overall quality of life.